Hello, my spooky paisan. This is your ghost pal, Super RJ. The Addams family are one of the most interesting characters that do grow on me for a few years. I mean, they do grow on me. I'm always interested about these characters and what they do throughout their century. They made their debut in one single comic panel made by a cartoonist named Charles Addams, which later the family adapted into different media. They have their own live-action sitcoms in the 1960s. They have two animated series made by Hanna-Barbera. Their own two 90s movies of the same name, and so much more. And then until now, we got to the 2010 decade, where Hollywood announced that the Addams family are coming back, but this time in animation once again. But this time they're full-on feature film. So, I saw the film a few days because I always liked the Addams family because I think they're one of the most underrated animated characters of all time. And I saw the film and it was a bit disappointment. So, let's talk about the film, shall we? The film is your fish out of water story where the Addams move to this new town in New Jersey where they evolve into a new family. Like Gomez and Morticia Addams are now married. They found a mansion up on the hill. They found their butler. They named him Lurch. And they gave birth to two delightful children such as Wednesday and Pugsley Addams. And then their Uncle Gomez's brother, Uncle Fester, moves in. And then his mother comes in, who is, I don't know what her name is, but I'm just going to assume we call her Granny. And they have a walking hand named Thing. Until one day they discover a town is located beneath the hills. And they started to explore around until they come across a TV show's reality host named Marco, who was planning about interesting meeting the Addams, but after she and the rest of the townsfolk just interact with the Addams family, they started to feel like they become the most strangest people and they started to back away from them a bit. While the Addams are trying to prepare for their next family reunion, while other stuff happening. So yeah, like I said, this whole movie is a fish out of water story, and the story's execution is definitely not. It's definitely not good. What I mean by that is that there's not that much happening through this whole movie. It's just you. I mean, sure, it does have a plot, but they don't have. The plot is not actually there. You just seen these characters do something, and that's about it. I just don't like some of these family films, especially these movies. Also, the movie side has some few subplots, but they don't really connect together or barely have any purpose. Well, they kind of, but don't. Like, there's this subplot revolving around Wednesday Addams trying to experiencing the outside world, Pugsley trying to do this activity on their family reunion so he can prove to be that be proved worthy of the family name, and there's the part where the villain tries to sabotage the Addams by having everybody join in and trying to show how weird and dangerous the family is. And it just makes the whole film seem dull and forgettable, and also makes the movie a bit predictable. But to be fair, the movie does have some good redeeming qualities. Mostly it still have his Addams family personality. What I mean by that is that when you look back to the shows and the movies, you notice these people still kept what the Addams family are, being weird. Their dialogue is being different than what any other normal families talk about, and what they do is all in all different. And I'll give points to that, which leads me to the humor of this film. The humor is hit and miss. Like I said, they still have his Addams family charm, like how the families do certain stuff so not like any other normal family do. But some of them are just weird and are just repetitive and not that funny and totally unneeded. Like, for example, there's this running joke where Wednesday tries to kill herself or trying to mess around with her brother. I mean, it is subtle, but it does get really repetitive a little bit. Another thing I wanted to mention back to the 90s Addams Family movie, those movies, they have a story, yet the characters, the Addams themselves, actually carry on to the story. And yeah, both those movies are the same thing, involving Uncle Fester and the family films trying to get the family fortune that has something to do with Uncle Fester and stuff. But you still gotta give credit that they still feel like the Addams are going through this adve- hour and a half storytelling in those movies. Here, it's just seeing these characters is going to these tropes that you've seen before in other family films. Like, let's discuss about Wednesday Addams. Now, as much as I do like Wednesday Addams in the original, they basically turn into a Disney princess that character, like Jasmine from Aladdin or Rapunzel from Tango, where she want to experience the outside world, outside of her strange delusional family, and it does pretty show. And especially the fact that Morticia is being a little bit protective on Wednesday's safety about interacting with the normal people outside of their home. And I will say it's the only plot I actually kind of care the most, but it's still that wasn't even good either. And as I mentioned before, with the whole part with Pugsley, Gomez trying to teach Gomez about this one certain activity that every Addams family member has to do whenever they start their ceremony. It's not to mention a lot the whole thing, and it's just the whole be yourself self. Like, you know that Pugsley's gonna show his family what he's actually incapable of, which is he's into explosive stuff. So that's not much happen. But however, the one subplot I do not like the most, it would have to be the villain Margot. Now Margot is the TV show host of this house makeover. Yet when she see the Addams, she's just trying to ruin the Addams by making everybody to go be against them. And this movie had something to do with the movie's message, but I'll get to that in a minute. She's also a neglectful parent to her daughter Parker, who befriends with Wednesday when they both met. And aside from her being a neglectful parent, her motivation is so generic. They just make her to one of the most generic villains out there. She reminds me of she's basically like human version of Smiler from the Emoji Movie, and Mr. O'Hare from Illuminations: The Lorax. So I could describe these villains. These villains are basically villains who wanted to keep everything and everybody into one certain thing. Like, they wanted to be happy. Like Smiler, she wanted everybody to have one certain emotion, not changing emotion. Same to O'Hare. Like, he wanted people in Thneeville to forget about trees. Yeah, when people trying to mention people about trees, he's trying to act like, oh, trees are dangerous. They bring poisonous ants and stinging bees. And yet, this one, Margot, all she wanted is to have the Addams family out of the town just because they're so strange and so bizarre. She thinks that it'll ruin her reputation of her show, and she wants them out so she can keep her show safe. I mean, like, really? That's your plot? That's your villainous scheme? Like, yeah, the Addams are weird, but people can get used to them. Get used to how strange they are. Yeah, I just don't like this villain at all. And that's one thing I wanted to talk about lastly, but again, I'll get to that later. Last thing I want to talk about this movie is without doubt the animation. Now, a lot of people really don't like the animation, and I definitely am one of those. Now, let me start to address here. The people who made the animation is made by, I think it's Nitrogen Animation. That is the same company that did the animation for Sausage Party. And I will give credit to them how they did the design of the Addams themselves. It's like they actually did take the designs of the 2D version of the Addams from the comics, single panel comics, and convert them to 3D. And I will say they did an incredible job at it. They do look like the ones for the 1970s 3 Hanna-Barbera series and the comic. And I like all the detail they give in. Like, the best character Addams family has the best character detail. It had to be Wednesday Addams, where they have her ponytail be shaped as a nuisance. I thought that was a pretty nice touch. But the big problem people have with the animation, it had to be the normal characters. And yet they certainly do not fit in the movie's world. I mean, like, I can understand what they do with the Addams family because, they're kind of weird and all that stuff. But if you really want to make the normal people and who aren't the Addams family, you have to make sure you got to do some better way to make the designs not seem really cheap looking. It's the same problem the company have with Sausage Party. The design of the foods in that movie are good, but it's the design of the humans. Like you could, like they apparently they don't not even learn how they used to make the humans in Sausage Party. Yet they try to make it a lot more better for this movie. In fact, the movie was supposed to be made by Illumination, and they wanted to make it their very first stop motion animated film with the help of Tim Burton. Yes, that's right. That's right, folks. Tim Burton, who is actually one of my all-time favorite directors, actually wanted to help create the Addams Family movie. And in my opinion, I think that's an excellent idea because Tim Burton is one of my favorite movie directors. Plus, he is mysterious and serious and kooky like the Addams are. And I always wanted to see how Tim Burton can do when he wanted to make an Addams Family movie. But unfortunately, that never happened. And again, it would have been awesome if we do get to see a stop motion Addams Family movie. But yeah, the animation is definitely not good. The redesign of the Addams do look good, but the rest of the people, including the town that they live in called Assimilation, yeah, that's apparently what the town is called, is definitely not good. And lastly, I want to talk about the film, and that is the lesson in the movie. And that the lesson they put in this movie saying that it's okay that some people are different and weird as long as you can accepted them. And the way how they put that, how they let the Addams Family be in that, put that sort of message in a movie with something to do with the Addams Family, in my opinion, I think that's actually seemed like a clever idea to do this. I mean, like, the Addams Family is like a perfect choice to put into this lesson. Because that's the lesson I think people should learn that nowadays. Seeing how people do find some people weird, like they collect some weird stuff, or they like to do something different than what any other normal people do, never do. That's something I have to say the moral is not badly told in this movie. But there is one problem with it. Now, I am going to Now, and that has something to do with the villain. In fact, as I mentioned before, as much as Margot is a generic villain, she's not like any other villains I mentioned, I mentioned before, who didn't get any sort of comeuppance. Yeah, that's right. She has no punishment at the end of the movie. She just gone around scot free, and it's not like she didn't even try. Now, it's not like she actually feels sorry for what she did to the Addams or what she did, and even realize what she done to her only daughter. It's not like she's promised to be like a good mother to her. She just suddenly didn't get no punishment. Oh, yeah, sure, she did get somewhat of a payback, but she still didn't get no punishment. And that does kind of ruin the whole message in my opinion. But still, the message is good, but it ruins a little bit with having the villain did not get her comeuppance. So, in conclusion, the Addams Family 2019 animated film is definitely a not so good movie. The story itself is not excitement. It has its Addams Family personality, but when you talk about all of that with this mediocre animation, Addams Family characters are the Addams that we all know, but the way how they interacted into this movie's story is not good, and has some really forgettable moments. And if you're an Addams Family, then my suggestion is to skip this movie entirely. In my opinion, you just watch the original 1990s live action Addams Family instead of this. But to me, even though I am a little bit Addams Family fan myself, I will definitely say it's a movie I do not want to watch over and over again. I might occasionally watch it sometimes in the future, but not most of the time. So, for the score of the film, I give The Addams Family 2019 a 5.7 out of 10, which means this movie gets the Mushroom Medal. So, if you guys seen the Addams Family movie, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next Halloween review. See you later, my ghoulish paisanos.